Welcome, focused learners. Today, we're turning this explainer into a structured lesson, or as they say in Portuguese, an aula. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by conjugations, you are absolutely in the right place. We are going to demystify the 5 core verbs you need for everyday Portuguese conversation, laying down a highly practical path to true fluency. Here is our roadmap for today. First, a fundação dos verbos. Second, viajando pelo tempo. Third, o desafio, saber ou conhecer. Fourth, expandindo o vocabulário. And finally, colocando tudo na prática. Let's dive right in.
Section 1, a formation of the verbs, the foundational building blocks.
Okay, to really grasp Portuguese, we have to start by categorizing our 5 essential verbs. In Portuguese, verbs kind of hang out in different families or conjugations, based entirely on their endings. Here we have our big 5 split into 2 main groups. In the first conjugation, those ending in R, we've got viajar, meaning to travel, and conversar, meaning to converse or chat. Then in the second conjugation, the ones ending in er, we have aprender, to learn, conhecer, to know a person or place, and saber, to know a fact. Now notice how the verbs ending in R and most ending in er are generally regular. They play by the rules. But saber? Keep a close eye on that one. It's going to be our wild card later on. Moving on to Section 2, viajando pelo tiempo, shifting across present, past, and future. Let's see how these verbs shift through time, rooting ourselves first right here in the present tense, the present indicative, which we use for current facts or habitual actions. For viajar, we get this beautiful, regular pattern. Viajo, viaja, viajamos, viajam. Same exact rhythm with conversar. Converso, conversa, conversamos, conversam. And aprender gives us aprendo, aprende, aprendemos, aprendem. But check out the slight spelling change in conhecer. Look specifically at the ale form. It's conheço with a cedilla on the C. That little mark is there strictly to maintain the soft s sound. And then there's our wild card, saber. The ale form is completely irregular. Eu sei, meaning I know. It's a tiny word, but I guarantee you will use it every single day. All right, now let's step back into the past tense, specifically the pretérito perfeito. This tense is absolutely vital because we use it for punctual, completed actions. If you did something and it is 100% finished, this is the exact tense you reach for. Let's see how our 5 verbs handle these completed past actions. For our regular R verbs, the EO form ends in A, viager, conversei. For the ER verbs, it ends in E, aprendi, conheci. Now, look over at the você, ele, ela forms and notice the recurring U markers at the end. Viajou, conversou, aprendeu, conheceu. This kind of structural repetition is your absolute best friend for memorization. But again, draw your attention to how our wildcard saber shifts entirely in the past. To say I knew or I found out, it actually becomes soube, and for we knew, it's soubemos. Committing this irregular column to memory right away will massively boost your conversational skills. So let's shift our gaze forward to the future. Now, you might be bracing yourself for more complex endings, but we actually have a fantastic shortcut. The crucial point here is that in everyday spoken Portuguese, you really don't need complex future conjugations. You simply take the present tense of the auxiliary verb ir, which means to go, and pair it with the unconjugated infinitive verb. That's it. Eu vou viajar. I am going to travel. Nós vamos conversar. We are going to converse. It is beautifully simple and instantly unlocks your ability to talk about all of your upcoming plans.
Which brings us to Section 3, o desafio, saber ou conhecer, resolving the ultimate learner dilemma.
Honestly, this is my favorite part of the explainer. Let's tackle the biggest plot twist of this lesson and resolve exactly when to use saber and when to use conhecer. In English, we just use the verb to know for everything, right? But Portuguese demands precision. Keep this distinction in mind whenever you get stuck. Saber expresses the knowledge of facts or skills. For example, if you know how to swim, you sabe nadar. Conhecer, on the other hand, refers strictly to being familiar with people, places, or complex concepts through direct experience. If you've been to the famous municipal market in São Paulo, you conhece the market. So the golden rule is you sabe a fact, but you conhece a person or a city. All right, Section 4, expandindo o vocabulário, from verbs to nouns and adjectives. Let's see how building on these basic roots expands your overall toolkit way beyond just conjugating actions.
Mastering a single verb root is like unlocking an entire family of derived nouns and adjectives. It drastically multiplies what you can say. Look at viajar. Just by knowing that verb, you easily recognize the noun a viagem, meaning the trip, and the word viajante, meaning traveler. From aprender, we naturally get o aprendizado, the learning. And from saber, we extract a sabedoria, which translates to wisdom, and the adjective sabio, meaning wise. Once you start spotting these structural suffixes, your vocabulary literally scales exponentially.
And finally, Section 5, colocando tudo na prática, verbs in the wild. Grammar can definitely feel a bit dry in isolation, so let's breathe some life into it and see how these 5 verbs actually interact in a real-world scenario. Before we look at a full dialogue, I want to pose this mini quiz to you. Você sabe onde fica a nova agência de viagens? Ask yourself right now, why is sabe used here instead of conhecer? Think about it for a second. It's because the location of the agency is a piece of factual information. You're asking for a fact, so saber is absolutely the only correct choice.
Now let's read through this quick slice-of-life dialogue. Anna asks for a fact. Você sabe onde fica a nova agência? Pedro replies, Sim, eu conheço o dono. Ele disse que é fácil aprender o novo sistema. Meaning, yes, I know the owner. He said it's easy to learn the new system. Anna finishes with, Quero conversar com ele para planejar minhas férias e viajar para o Brasil. I want to converse with him to plan my vacation and travel to Brazil. Look at how seamlessly they weave this together. Pedro perfectly uses conheço for a person, the owner, right after Anna uses sabe for a fact. They naturally hit all 5 of our essential verbs in just 3 sentences. So we've mastered the foundation, shifted through time, solved the saber versus conhecer mystery, and multiplied our vocabulary. Now, I want to leave you with this final thought and challenge you to immediately apply the future tense and these essential verbs in your own daily life. Então, para onde você vai viajar a seguir e com quem você vai conversar? So, where are you going to travel next and who will you converse with? Use the tools we built today, keep practicing, and enjoy speaking this beautiful language.